Okay, welcome to our very first episode of Civil Disagreement. My name is Kevin Beers, and I will be hosting. My partner here. Introduce yourself there, Mike.
My name is Michael Green. That's it. Okay, so
Tell me a little bit about yourself. How about that?
Okay. So my name is Michael Green. I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland. Right now, I'm 40-something years old. I just stopped counting after 40. It doesn't matter. I am a military retiree. I have a little bit of college. I enjoy photography and videography. I currently live in Hampton Roads, Virginia. I have 3 children, 2 boys, 1 girl. Other than that, I'm just here chilling with my man K-Dog.
Okay, that reference to K-Dog. We are actually at K-Dog Productions, and I'm K-Dog. My background for you a little bit. I grew up in Pennsylvania in the foothills of the Pocono Mountains. I've been married for 33 years now, and I have 2 daughters, and actually 2 grandchildren, a boy and a girl, 2.5 and 3.5. My background, I guess essentially I'm a software engineer by trade. Started out in hardware back in the olden days when, as you can see some of the equipment behind me here, I started when that was built. Currently, I'm still working my software job, and I actually own a business in financial services. And then Mike and we just decided we were going to do a podcast.
Yeah, definitely needed to do one. Sign of the times. Too many people walk around there misinformed. So we're going to help educate you people.
So, and just to give you a little background about the 2 of us together, we, as you can tell from our backgrounds, we're extremely different people. Our perspectives on everything are different. We find, actually, Mike started staying at my house about a year ago whenever he'd visit Richmond, Virginia, for his business up here. And what ended up happening was we got into these conversations, and we'd be up till 4, 5, 6 in the morning. Neither one of us sleeping, and we're both getting older, so that's not working for us. And I said one day, hey, what do you think about putting this out on the internet? You know, the things we talk about, and let other people participate in that kind of conversation. He got excited. I got excited. The entire project began. I was just going to clean out the basement. We were going to put up a little screen behind us and film it. And just started talking to people about it, and all of a sudden I had people signing up to use a studio. So I ended up building a studio, and here we are.
There we go. Yeah, good stuff. So how I got dragged into this among the many conversations that me and Kevin were having, we were having some real deep conversations, basically centered around cultural experiences. Basically, how you grow up living in America, growing up in per se white America versus black America, cultural differences about religion, how we worship, how we raise our kids, how we drive, how we eat, how we use social media, how we spend our money, a range of differences we were having discussions about, all the way down to politics, obviously. I do want to put out there, though, we're not starting this to try to demonize anybody. We're not trying to say one culture is better than another culture. We just want to have a conversation. We just want to create discussions that people, can come and say, hey, I always wanted to know why that was like that, and you guys really talked about that. That's what we need to be having in today's society, specifically since social media is so instant and people are so triggered. We just need to have discussions so we can understand each other's differences, because I really don't think as people, one person has the keys to the kingdom or one culture has the keys to the kingdom. I just don't think that. I think we all have something to bring to the table that works in a given situation. And that's about it.
Now, one of the things I appreciated about Mike so much was that I was allowed to ask questions that have always been on my mind. Basically, as a white person is what it came down to. I'm not allowed to ask certain questions in the public square because all of a sudden I'm branded a racist because I had that question. When in all honesty, I just had a question. I didn't know the answer to it, and I wanted someone to answer the question for me. Mike was that guy who would answer those questions. So through all our conversations, he has helped me see things I've never seen before, because he's allowed me to enter into that culture.
Yeah.
I'll say he allowed me to enter into the culture, ask the questions that I've always wondered about, and he actually answered them, and then I got my answer. But because of the way our society is right now, if I ask that question of most people, like I'll give you a good for instance. Back Obama was president. Okay, I didn't like Obama. Just straight up, I didn't like him. Now Trump is president. I don't like Trump either. But whenever I disagreed with a policy that Obama put out there, I was a racist. I didn't disagree with him because he was black. I disagreed with him because I thought it was a rotten policy. Now Trump, same thing, of course. But when I disagree with him, I'm a flaming liberal. But when I agree with him, I'm a right wing nut. I mean, that's we're not allowed. You have to be on one side or the other, and I don't see things that way.
And for me, it was you get tired of people trying to put you in a box, and I'm sure many people have heard out there that, oh, okay, I guess because I'm black, I have to be Democrat. I can honestly tell you, I come from a pretty conservative family. I'm not hood or anything like that. I know plenty of people that grew up like that and that's still in the streets. I mean, it is what it is, but I don't claim to be that. I also don't claim to speak for all black culture. That there's not one person that can. But again, me and Kevin are just trying to have a conversation, and hopefully, we invite you to be a part of that. And you can come in and maybe give us your point of view or your insight on what you think about certain issues that we talk about. But again, we want to have the conversation. We don't want to demonize. We're not trying to isolate a group of people. We're not trying to victim blame and all the rest of it. We're not about that. We want to have the conversation.
Right. And we set up a Facebook page for Civil Disagreement. We have a website that is going to be up and running at some point. I don't know where we are right now on
that. We're getting that together.
We're going to be distributing the podcast on several different platforms. But the whole point is we want no question you ask is off limits.
Yes.
However, we don't go for name calling. We don't go with shouting other people down. Mike and I, what you're going to see through this podcast is we disagree on a lot of things. But we're not going to shout each other down.
We're not going to personally attack each other, or man, if you have that kind of view, you're just a racist. No, we're not. That's not what we're trying to do. We might say that the point of view can be considered racist, but we're not trying to name call and demonize people. So
right, and several things. Actually, we had a conversation at lunchtime today.
Yeah, man,
where I just asked a question, and Mike basically said that's kind of a racist view, but for me, that's just what I grew up with. So it wasn't me being racist. It was just that's what I was brought up with. I could see where it would be racist, possibly, but at the same time, I don't know any different. So through that conversation, he points out, hey, that can be offensive to some people. Now I know. I didn't know that before.
Yeah.
So that's what this conversation is all about. Just enlightening ourselves as part. A lot of times, obviously I like to be right. And Mike is typically wrong when we have a conversation. From his perspective, I'm guessing it's the other way around.
We're gonna leave it up to public opinion to see who's right.
No, we're not.
Yes.
But that's the conversation. I'm not trying to be right. I'm trying to understand. And hopefully those who view this podcast will think the same way. Like they want to understand. And if you have questions, ask the question.
Yeah. Or if you definitely have something to contribute about the topic, please write it in the post that we're discussing. And if you want us to talk about an actual social or political subject, please hit us up in the messages. Let us know. We will definitely entertain that. If you want to be on the podcast, maybe it's something in your church you want to talk about, your community, something you want to bring to the forefront that needs to be discussed, please hit us up. We will definitely get back with you and let you know if that's possible. Specifically, if you're in the Hampton Roads, Richmond area, we definitely want to hear from you.
Yeah, and I'll go even a little bit further on that one. We will be monitoring all the questions that come up, and we will. If you have questions for us that you'd like us to just cover, we'll definitely, like Mike said, we'll entertain them. Doesn't mean we'll necessarily use them, but if they have any kind of merit, but we're going to talk about all subjects, not just politics, not just religion, not just any one particular thing. These are just about issues that are going on today.
Yeah.
And if you're hearing noise in the background, it's me hitting the microphone because this is our very first podcast. I will say that. So there's going to be some oopses here and there. I'll keep my hands under the table here so I don't do that anymore. But just join the conversation, really. And if you have a point of view that we find interesting, or leave us a way to get in contact with you, possibly, or whatever it might be. We actually do have some guests that we would like to bring on already. Another friend of mine who is from the same culture as Mike, let's say, but disagrees with Mike. So that's okay too. One of the topics that has come up that we may talk about, well, a couple of things we will be covering for sure, is the Second Amendment and gun rights. We definitely want to cover that one. We also want to cover... what were those other things that we talked about?
Definitely marijuana.
Marijuana and the current prison system.
Prison reform.
Prison
yes,
reform.
sir.
So that'll be definitely a topic. The mainstream media. Actually, Mike and I, we kind of agree on this one.
Oh yeah, we so agree on
but
this.
But at the same time, we agree for different reasons.
Yes.
We don't necessarily agree for the same reason. Another one, actually. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but Mike is dating someone who's has a friend that's a school teacher. My daughter is also a school teacher, and their experiences as teachers in an education system that they both feel is broken. We definitely want to talk about those kinds of things. Now, neither one of us is qualified to talk about that ourselves.
No.
But here we have actual teachers in the system who have been very vocal about the problems. So we want to bring them on so they can air their story also. So we're looking at a ton of different possibilities. Mike mentioned that he's 40 plus.
I think I'm 46. I'll be 47 this year.
And I'm 50 plus, and in about a month and a half, I'm going to be 60 minus, let's say. So again, different perspectives, different cultures, different age groups, different everything.
Yeah.
But we all need to be able to have that conversation together. And when we touch on religion, I'm hoping we don't get a lot of backlash on that one.
Oh, man, that's going to be, man.
Because I've actually got to experience some black churches now, and I wasn't ready for it. It was not what I grew up with. I will mention the area I grew up in. I always refer to it as being white year-round because 6 months of the year it's snowing, and the other 6 months is just the people.
Oh, man, that's bad.
It's where I grew up. As a matter of fact, just to give you a little background there too, the first black person I met, I was 20 years old. I had never spoken to anyone, never met anyone of a different skin color until I was 20.
Golly.
And that was my first job.
That is a true definition of sheltered. Culturally sheltered. Yes.
And this guy grows up in an area where different religions, different cultures, different ethnicities, different everything.
Yeah, everything going around.
Yeah, and I never experienced that. But I've always worked for international companies. So, my background through the work I've done, I've met people from all over the world, and I love it personally. Currently, I work with a lot of people of the Asian persuasion, and I just find it's enriching my life because it's different from what I'm used to, and I just incorporate that into who I am.
Good stuff.
Okay,
yes.
So I guess that's probably enough for today.
Yeah.
But our next one coming up, we decided on the next topic.
Was it going to be the? I think it was going to be the
prison reform.
Prison reform.
Prison reform and
marijuana.
marijuana.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what we're going to be talking about next time. So definitely come back. We're planning on releasing a podcast a week.
Yes.
At this point. So come prepared.
Peace.
Talk to you later. I don't do that.
We can cut out all
Very
that.
good.
That's good. I'm just here chilling with my man K-Dog.